What's up, boss?
But I thought it might be helpful for people who haven't heard our pitch for Passover to just describe it biblically and historically. Well, if Passover is such a big deal, why do we have Easter? So it's illegal. It's illegal for Christians to celebrate the Passover. Something was happening in the Catholic Church way back in 306 AD. The Church Synod of Elvira forbade Christians to marry Jews, to receive Jewish prayers or blessings. That seems weird. You couldn't, as of 306, you can't receive Jewish prayers or blessings, and you cannot eat with Jews as of the year 306. In the year 325, the Council of Nicaea rejected the biblical calendar. They rejected celebrating Passover, and they tried to divorce Resurrection Day with Passover. Now, just an insider tip to those kind of Bible nuts out there, Resurrection Day is historically celebrated right around 3 days after the crucifixion. So for people like me, for technocrats who really love the intricacies of Bible history, we tend to keep those 3 days together. So a crucifixion, and then a couple of days later, a resurrection. That's how that's just in my mind. But the Catholics said, no, we must chop those days in half. Those Jews can do whatever they want with their Passover. Jesus died on the Passover. And we'll take Resurrection Day. We'll make it its own thing. They wanted desperately for it to not be connected with Passover. They doubled down on that again 20 years later, and I'll jump up to 787, which I think you're referring to. The Council of Nicaea II required Jewish believers in Yeshua, when you came to faith, you had to formally renounce and condemn observance of, first of all, the Sabbath. Hello, 10 Commandments. You had to renounce observance of the Sabbath, all biblical festivals. Wait, obeying the Bible? Yes, obeying the Bible. And all expressions of worship that they could call Jewish. So at this point, they would say that Jesus and all New Testament believers were outside of their blessing and approval. So I'm just telling you this little story so that you understand the historical separation that happened because of the Catholic influence in modern Christianity in general. This is why we left behind these Jewish practices, because it was against the law as far as we all knew. Well, that's still in the Bible. And here's the funny thing. All of God's decrees, they're still there in the Bible. And all of these laws that the Catholics made up, those are gone and forgotten. So we're just living on tradition now, which is that we have this Frankenstein called Easter that's been created, while we have left behind the biblical command to celebrate. Now, I'll just throw out, we Gentile believers, I am 3% Jewish, ding, but really Gentile from Scotland and other places. But our hero, king, master, Jesus, you might have heard this, is Jewish. And he was Jewish when he was born. He lived as a Jew. He died as a Jew. Remember that old King of the Jews thing? And then he maintains his Jewish identity in eternity. And we are, according to Romans 11, if we've been born again, if we have any life or interest in Jesus, we have been grafted into a tree, and we are branches grafted into this Jewish tree. And Paul makes that very clear in Romans 11. You cannot escape that point being made in Romans 11. So our faith is a Jewish faith. I'm not Jewish, but I can say that my king is Jewish, and I can say that my faith has Jewish roots. And so I don't have to pretend to be Jewish, nor am I pretending to be Jewish when I celebrate a Passover Seder. All I'm doing is going, here is something that God has put down whereby I can enter into it. I can celebrate the story, which is my story. Spiritually, it's my story of deliverance from Egypt and how that represents my deliverance. So, and the last thing I'm going to say on this topic is that there is in Exodus, when God said you're going to celebrate this Passover and you're going to do it forever. I just want to read these verses starting in Exodus 12:14, and I'll jump to verse 24. So this day shall be to you a memorial, and you shall keep it as a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it as a feast by an everlasting ordinance. Ding, ding, ding. Everlasting ordinance. And you shall observe this thing as an ordinance for you and your sons forever. So that seems pretty definitive to me. And we also know, if you're like a Bible student on this subject, you know that we're going to celebrate Passover in heaven. Because what Jesus did as being the Lamb of God will never stop being celebrated.